welcome you to the session on protractor. Today we are going to see about protractor, the basics, and we are trying to understand protractor with a project. So this will be the agenda for this session. Before jumping into protractor, I just want you to have a uh, simple idea, okay, idea on Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver, if you take, it is one of the thing in the tool set of Selenium. Okay, so using Selenium WebDriver, it got upgraded from Selenium RC. First, we had Selenium Core and Selenium RC. Then Selenium WebDriver was a upgradation from Selenium RC in the tool set of Selenium. Okay, WebDriver, if you take, it is a automation framework for automating helping you automate your applications in the browser using native OS calls. Okay, and for this, it is like a direct interaction between your script and the browser. Okay, just for this, you need IDE, the program language IDE, and browser, and you also need the driver for that particular Chrome. If you are testing, you may need Chrome driver and Firefox Gecko driver so that it can communicate directly from your script to the browser. So it is going to be a more of direct OS call. It is a direct interaction. Okay, and this Selenium WebDriver can be different written in different languages like Java, .NET, Python, and JavaScript. And for each there is a different libraries. For Java it is different library, .NET it is different library, Python it is different, and JavaScript it is different. The one which is written for JavaScript is called as WebDriver JS, and your scripts will, I will just show you the scripts, but I'm not going to explain in detail. So this is how the scripts are going to look. Okay, so we are just, this is a script written in WebDriver for JavaScript. So we generally use Selenium WebDriver, okay, and we using builder dot for browser Firefox. We build it, and using the WebDriver commands, we first we using driver dot get, we open that application in the browser, and we go for each element. Okay, we send ABC pass to each elements. Okay, and then at last using the submit button, we click. Okay, and we quit. So this is for just a simple like application like this. This was written for a application like this. If you see this, so this was written for this application which has username and password. Using this script, I'm just sending the username ABC pass, and I'm clicking submit. Okay, this is what I'm doing here. Okay, so we using driver dot find element. We are finding the element and clicking on that element. Okay, so now using protractor, we are going to see how it is going to wrap this Selenium WebDriver, because protractor is nothing but a wrapper around WebDriver JS. Okay, this was written using WebDriver JS. The Selenium WebDriver is nothing but WebDriver JS. So the protractor is going to wrap, is going to be a upper level of this WebDriver JS, wrapper around WebDriver JS. So let us see in protractor how we are making a wrapper around this Selenium WebDriver. Okay, let me go to the program. Okay, so as I told, protractor is maybe it is an end-to-end framework for web application. It was mainly it is written by Angular team. It was mainly written for Angular applications because the Angular applications had some many bindings involved which could not be handled by Selenium. So they had to write this protractor, which is written for Angular application, Angular and Angular JS application, but it can be used for even non-Angular application. But you have to add a little configuration for that to work. And the other thing is, as I told you, it is a wrapper around this WebDriver JS. It is a this has been wrapped. They have not written anything. They have not gone for any new language or so. They have just wrapped the WebDriver JS, and their comments will be internally calling WebDriver JS comments. Whatever is we saw, right? Driver dot find element, driver dot get. Yeah, whatever we given protractor, it will end up calling WebDriver JS commands because it is a wrapper. It is just a upper level. Okay. Okay. Hope you understand what is protractor. It is just you remember protractor is just a higher level. It is a wrapper around WebDriver JS. You know WebDriver JS. It is just a higher level to that, written over Selenium over WebDriver JS. Okay, so let's understand with the project. For setting up a protractor, first you need to go to your command prompt and do npm install protractor -g. So this will install protractor globally because we have given -g. So this may fail for me because it is already installed for me. Once you do this, right, the protractor will be available globally for you. Okay, and the main thing we do this is I want to run the server. Okay, WebDriver manager server. For that, for running this WebDriver manager server, which as I told you in WebDriver, I was telling that it also needs that particular driver, right? If you are running your test against a Chrome driver, you have to put Chrome driver in the path, in the root path. Here, this WebDriver manager itself will maintain all the drivers. You need not update the drivers and all that. It will all be maintained by this. Okay. Through the script, we will be just calling this WebDriver manager. Okay. So let's come to this. This -g is written once you do global installation. The WebDriver manager will be available globally so that you can run that server using this. So let's move on. We have done this. Now let us create a protractor application, npm protractor node application. Basically, if you see the protractor runs on node, right? So in any node, okay, we use npm for managing the packages. So the first step is creating a folder. So our aim here is to create a protractor application. Okay. So first we will create a folder. That will be our first step. And the next step is we are making inside that folder, we are initializing the folder for npm because we are actually writing in Node for managing packages. We need npm, so we are initializing it for with npm, and after that we are installing protractor locally. And the next two primary things for running any protractor script is we have to create conf and spec file that we will do. Okay, and then we will start the WebDriver manager for the protractor script to speak with, and then at last we will start the test using protractor conf.js. Okay. What we are going to write, our requirement will be to test write script for this application. Okay, so basically this is a simple login application. So as part of script, we'll be entering ABC in username and pass in password and clicking on submit, and we will be verifying whether it has landed in this page. This is what we need to achieve through our script. So let's proceed with writing the protractor thing for achieving this. Okay. So let me first create a folder for this. So let me create a folder, new folder, protractor test 4. Okay. Let me uh, let me open that folder with VS Code. Okay. Open folder, protractor test 4, right? So we have not done anything inside that. So it will be just empty. Let me open a terminal through VS Code. Let me first do the first step. That is initialize this folder for npm. So I will call npm init. So it will ask me the package name for this npm and let me press enter and it would have created initialize this folder with npm. So right now since we are initialized with npm will have this package.json which it will use for managing the packages. So next step is adding protractor to this package, this npm package. Okay, let me add the protractor. So you may get a doubt why we added globally, why we also need to add locally inside this folder. The reason is very simple. When you send this file to your client, right? This npm package to your client, if you rely on global, okay, he may have a higher or lower versions of that protracted dependency or any other dependency. So there are issues that there are cases where it may not work because he has higher or lower version. So it is all as a rule of thumb, it is always good to have it all within a folder, confine it within a folder so that we don't go for anything outside the folder. If you go anything outside the folder, there are chances that it may not work because of the version mismatch. Okay, so let me do npm install save. So if you say save, it will save it inside this folder, inside the node modules. So let me give it as protractor. Okay, so now it has created the package protractor inside this folder. Okay, so now you can see in the dependencies protractor is added in package.json and also in node modules you will see protractor here p. So it is added, but with protractor it has also added many packages because protractor needs them. These all are protractor dependencies and protractor needs them to work. Okay, so so what is our next step? Next step is, so the other main thing the protractor needs for running is the spec file and configuration file. So let's start with the configuration file. Okay, let me create conf.js. Just create this. Okay, sorry, I think I created inside node modules. Let me delete this. Should be the root. Okay, conf.js. Here we'll say exports.configuration. Let me give the configuration what I need to add. So the first thing you have to tell to protractor is what is the spec file I want to run as part of this test. So I want to run this spec file. Maybe give any name, but this I have not added yet. I will be adding now. And the next thing you have to tell is what framework I need to use for this test. I'm saying use Jasmine. This is the default framework. Even if you don't give this, it will be Jasmine. Jasmine, you will see it inside the node modules. This already comes inside the node modules. If you see, it will be a part of node module. So if you are using Jasmine, no need to install the package. But if you are going for any other testing framework, you have to also install that package using npm install save as we did for protractor. And the next thing you have to do is you have to add capabilities, saying what is the browser I want to run it across. Maybe the default one is Chrome. Okay, so I have added Chrome now. Next thing is the selenium address, where it has to find the selenium. I told you, right? We have to start the WebDriver manager. So here you have to give that address. Okay. Let me, the next step, Selenium address, once we start the WebDriver manager, we'll put the address here. Okay. So you have to put that address here. So this is about most needed and the configurations. Very necessary mandatory configurations. Okay. Now let me start with spec file. Okay. Spec.js, that is the name I gave it. So here you are supposed to add the test in Jasmine because you have told I'm going to use Jasmine framework. So you can say test login because that's what we are going to test, and write it as function. Okay. And close this. Here describe is working because we have already Jasmine package inside our test, inside our package, npm package. Okay. Then you have to add IT. Then that's what the test is actually. This is what maybe test. So in IT, we actually write the test. Inside the describe, you can have many tests. So let me write my test. Test in login. Okay, this is what my test is. And here, let me add another function. So I have written. Okay, the next thing is I have not written anything inside. Let me also start the WebDriver manager first, so that the our thing is able to communicate with it. Okay, with the we told, right? WebDriver manager. The WebDriver manager basically you have to first update the WebDriver manager and start it. So the WebDriver manager, as I told, it will update the drivers. Update the drivers. So you need not update yourself. It will just update with the latest drivers. And the our script will communicate with this WebDriver manager, and this WebDriver manager will communicate with the browser. So we are actually removed from the extra step of downloading the latest drivers and putting in the root path. This will be taken care by this WebDriver manager. But if you are going to directly connect, that time you have to put it. There is another option in configuration where we can directly connect with the browser. That we will see last. But if we do like that, then you should yourself using you should have the drivers inside the node modules. We will see how we can do that. Let me start with WebDriver manager, update first so that I update the drivers. So you can see all the drivers will get updated. So now all the drivers are up to date. Now let me start. Manager, start. So it will start. So it should start in 444. It has started in 444. The format how you should have it is like this. Okay, just copy here. Let me, as I told, when I start the WebDriver manager, I will copy this URL for it. So right now our WebDriver manager is running in 444, right? As we saw here. So just update that port. Okay. Now we are all set up for running our test. Let us move to the test. Now, as the first step, what we need to do is, since this is not non-Angular application, non-Angular JS application, you have to also write this so that to tell our script that not to wait for that ng app, which it will find in Angular JS application. So I'm telling, don't wait for. It is a non-Angular JS application, so don't wait for synchronization. So if you give like this, and you have to say false, okay, so that it will not wait for that ng app which it will find in Angular JS application. The next thing is I want to make it so this browser is globally available in all the protractor scripts. Okay, and you have to use get, and you have to copy the URL what you want it to open. So for me, I want to open this localhost 4200. That is my login page, right? That is my login page. So I want to open this. I copy this, paste it to my VS Code. And the other thing you have to make sure is you should not have any imports because the browser is already available. You should not have this imports. Okay, you will get errors. So let me run the script now. Let's check whether it is opening the our desired page. So to run, if I give protractor conf.js, okay, it will use the global protractor, but I don't want it to do that. To make to use the local protractor, what I will do, I will put the command here so that it will use the local protractor, not the global one. Just put this protractor conf.js. Okay, and save it. Now what I will do, I just need to give the command npm run script and the key name. The key is test inside the scripts test. Now let's see whether it is opening the script for me, opening the page. Mhm. So it is opening the page for me. You can see the page. Okay. So this should be true. That's why you are getting the. This is the error you will get if your page waits for Angular. Okay. This has to be ignores indentation, not false, true. It is ignores indentation is false by default, so you have to make it true. So if you run it now, you will not get that issue. Okay, now it will open the scripts and it passed. Okay, now let's proceed with our next requirement. Now we have to open the page and I have to make it identify this username, right? I need to make it identify this username input element and pass ABC to it, right? To identify username, you can identify in by many ways, right? So let's see how we can identify this username. Here we have something called ID username, right? Let me identify this with this ID username. So for doing that in protractor, okay, we have to use element, which is globally available in protractor, and we have to say element by ID because I want to identify the element by ID. So the ID there was username, right? And once this runs, right, this element by ID, this will actually return a element object. Okay. Over this element object, you can use all the functions. Okay. You can actually search in the net element protractor element objects. So you can actually refer to this. These are the ways you can get the element object. Over this element object, you can do many actions like click, send keys, clear, get attribute. So so you can refer to this locators. Here you can find all the actions which you can do over the element object. So now I'm interested to do send keys, right? So let me use that protractor function over the element object. So let me send keys, use send keys, and I want to send the key ABC. Likewise, I need to now send the password also, right? Let me go to our Chrome thing. Let me see how to identify this password input element. Here also I can identify it using ID password. So let me copy it and identify use that password and let me send keys pass. Once I entered the username and password, I have to click on submit, right? So let me find how to identify that submit button. You can see we can use the class name submit, right? So using that, let me do that now. So here, just copy here and I will say by class name this time. Class name submit. Okay. But this time I want to use the action click over this element object. Once I clicked on submit, what I want to do next is to verify whether it has gone to the home page, right? So also I will add a browser.wait so that you can see that page for some time. Else it will be very fast. You can use browser.driver.sleep and I will say it sleep for 300 milliseconds, 3000, that is 3 seconds. And after that, I will verify whether in the home page this button to verify whether it has reached home page. I will verify whether this button is present. Okay, how to verify this? You can use this ID, right? Element by ID. Just give this ID and you say what you will do here. Actually, we want assert it, right? We want to check whether this is present or not, right? For that, you can use something called expect, which is provided by Jasmine to assert whether that element is present or not. And I also need a boolean from this, right? To get a boolean, you can use is present. You can check what all are available in this locator thing. I think it should have all that, right? If you check for is present, I think you will get it. Okay. You have so many methods. If you refer to this thing, you will get many other things. Okay. Is present is one of the thing to return boolean from this element object. So from this element object, I'm using is present, and this will return a boolean. Okay, and I have to assert whether this boolean is true or false, right? You can use for that you can use to be truthy. Okay, this one you can go to find out what all assertions you can do. You can search for Jasmine expect. This is the package name. If you go here, you will find all the expect you can do. Right now, I'm interested to do this thing, right? To be truthy, whether it is truthy or not, right? Just paste it here. This one I have added so that you are able to see this page for some time. Okay. Now I have completed with the test. So what I have done, I have sent the username and password and I click the submit button and I am ascertain whether it has reached the home page by checking for this button is present. Okay. Let me run the test whether we will see. And we also need to remove this imports because the element is already available in my test. Okay, let me run the test. We'll see whether it works now. So 3 seconds and the test passed. You're able to see the test passed. If you made this as falsy, right, you can, there is also another thing called falsy. The test will fail now because it is returning true. And if you say it is to be false, the assertion will fail and the test will fail. Okay, because this is returning true. This element is present, but if you assert it to be false, the test will fail. Let me check that also. Now you can see the test fails, and you can see one spec failed, one spec, one failure, and you expect the true to be false. That's why it has failed. So this is about what we wanted to write. The requirement, we have almost completed with the requirement. Okay. So one more, two more things, two more additional configurations I wanted to tell. Other thing important one is there is something called direct connect. Okay. Instead of using a WebDriver manager, you can directly connect to the browser. Okay. If you do this direct connect, you don't need a selenium address because you are going to directly connect, right? You can also stop the server because we are going to directly connect to the browser. Let me run and see. Okay, with this configuration whether it is able to run. See, now it is throwing error. If you see the error, you will see that the drivers are missing in the node modules. That's what the error is, right? Drivers are missing. You run WebDriver Manager update. For that, what you have to run is go to the package.json. You add something called update because we have to have that drivers inside our modules, node modules, for running the test. Okay, you add WebDriver Manager update. So this what it will do, it will update the drivers inside. It will use the WebDriver Manager inside this folder and update the packages. And it will update. What it will do, it will end up updating adding the drivers inside the node modules. So you will have the drivers inside the node modules, so that when you run the test, it will be able to use that. So let me now run npm first. Npm run script update. Let me save this. Okay. I just want to run this update now, which will end up running this WebDriver Manager update and putting our drivers inside the node modules, inside our folders node module. Let me run this. Once I run this, it should update the drivers. You can see that it updates the driver inside our node modules. See here, it has put it inside protractor node modules WebDriver Manager. Inside that, it has put all the drivers. You can see the path here. Node modules protractor. Inside the protractor which is present in the node modules, it has put all the drivers. So our test will be able to use directly the drivers and directly connect with the browser. Now if I run npm run script test, it should be able to run. See, it is able to directly connect with Chrome and able to run. Okay, so it fails because of the same reason. Another configuration is you have another configuration which is Selenium Promise Manager. By default is set to true. Okay, so what this does is we are not doing. When you take promises in the case of JavaScript, you will write then. Once the promise is resolved, I will go to the next step. When the promise is resolved, I will go to the next step. But we are not finding any thens here because all these thens are taken care by the Selenium Promise Manager, so that your scripts, you need not write it and your script become more readable. Okay. Without Selenium Promise Manager, what will happen is You have to write your own then. Once this completes only, you go to this. You have to write something like dot then. If it is completed, you go to the next step. Okay, and when this command completes, when the promise is completely resolved in this command, then you pass on to the next thing. Like this, we have to write, but this makes your code more unreadable, right? So, Selenium, sorry, the Selenium Promise Manager will take care of that to run your commands sequentially. Okay, this is one other thing I wanted to tell you. And also, this also can be, instead of then, you can also use async and await. That also can be done. Okay, these are the main things I want to tell you. Thank you guys. Hope you understood this protractor session. Subscribe to get my new videos. Thank you. Have a nice day.